I've shown another video of the Menox hand control that I use for my car. One thing I didn't show is I had to replace the actual lever because the old one, if you can see, all it is kind of flimsy plastic, and it had cracked apart from years of just, you know, doing this, and I had tried to glue it many times. So instead of actually having to spend the money to buy another Menox handle, I just made my own. All I did, if you want to come down here, is I took a shift lever, just a manual shift lever. It's a universal shift lever, and I drilled a couple holes to add some switches. So the brake lock function that this used to have, that toggle switch on the front, is this button right here. So I just push it and it locks the handle in, you know, in place. The other buttons I have are manual shift mode. If I want to shift this over in the manual shift mode, I can literally shift the car, obviously without a clutch, but upshift and downshift. That's a function that I added to the car. This car comes with like a aftermarket paddle shift kit, and I use the electronics to make that. So that's not a function that Menox actually has. To show one of the big differences between the new shift knob that I'm using compared to the old Menox handle, this one you can see is a lot taller. This one used to sit about down here, which what I like to do is rest my thumb on the steering wheel and drive like that. It gives me a lot more control because I actually have two hands on the wheel rather than when I was doing this. I used to kind of put my finger on the wheel, but it was a really big stretch compared to now I'm way up here. The other thing too is before I was pulling with my hand, you know, flat. Now I turn my hand and I'm actually pulling like this, so it's a much more relaxed position. Menox, if you're going to make a new handle, I think you should make one similar to this rather than the flat position that you did before. The other thing too is this is solid metal on the inside, so it's much more sturdy than what this was. I know the reason they made this hollow was because it's made to have a couple more switches built in for different functions of the car. For my use, I only had the brake lock function originally, and obviously, like I showed you before, I added the shifter switches. But I'll show you when I drive with this shifter, I kind of like it a little bit better because, like I said, I don't even have to really take my thumb off the wheel at all when I'm driving. I just do that, I shift, and I kind of go from there. So again, the biggest thing is I could even drive without my left hand somewhat. I have a lot more control with the lever, a lot more close to the wheel. And then when I'm braking, I mean, when I really have to brake hard, you know, I'll use my full hand, but in normal traffic for the most part, I'm braking with one hand. That's just kind of what I've gotten used to. And it just makes it a lot easier with that taller handle. With the regular Menox control, you can actually you can adjust the handle up and down. But the plastic was kind of brittle when I did that, so I just wanted to show you this is the new handle that I use, and if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks a lot.